Just a reminder, nothing I share here is financial advice. This is all based on my own experience, my strategy, and how I see the market. You're responsible for your own trades, so always do your own research, manage your risk, and never trade money you can't afford to lose. This content is meant to help you learn and think for yourself, not to copy or follow blindly. Let's keep it educational and intentional. Good morning, guys. Let's see what we have. Basically, I'll just repeat what we were already prepared for from the November stats levels. As we looked at in the previous video on the monthly statistics, the lows tend to form on average around 8 to 9 days in an uptrend, with the overall average around 10 days. On average, the move was 5.39% with a 4.86% median. And how are lows formed? By price moving down. So it shouldn't really be a surprise that we see these levels being hit. The more bearish targets are way lower. So what we're hitting now are more or less the bullish targets, because that's the area where Bitcoin would typically form the monthly low and the wick. These levels are sitting in the HTF support area, mainly the weekly order block and other confluences we've mentioned before. Sure, that doesn't mean it has to hold. If it fails, the lower targets will be next. But for now, as always, I go step by step, trading the support levels just like before. Losses are rare, but they do happen, and that's fine. For this trade, my invalidation is pretty wide because I know we'll likely see higher prices again based on one of my strategies. So with that said, I'll add to this trade a bit lower, more or less around the last low, and from there, I'll watch how price reacts. For my other trade, I have compounds even lower, so everything should be fine for now. Anyway, we also hit one of the bearish targets sitting around here that we discussed last time, mainly the 5-day EMA target. The bearish cross target was around the 104.5K zone, and that has now been hit, so that job is done. Now, of course, we need to monitor the next higher time frame, because on the 7-day, it's about to cross if today's candle closes below 105,200. If that happens, we'll have a new bearish target at around 99K. Right now, price is sitting right on the edge, slightly below 105K, so we'll see how it closes today and then look at that new target. It doesn't mean we'll definitely get that cross, but if it does happen, then that will be one of the next levels to aim for. And yes, price can still rise before that, for example, back into the resistance area, but sooner or later historically, we've seen these targets being hit. Keep that in mind. And remember, it's a moving target, which means it rises slightly with each close. But for now, I'm not front-running the close. I'll wait and see how it finishes today. Momentum on the 5-day chart is currently pointing down as long as Bitcoin stays below 110K on the close, so that will most likely remain bearish. On the weekly, we'd also have a cross if Bitcoin closes below 106K this week, and that target would actually be the same, around 99K. Momentum remains shifted down as long as this week doesn't close above a 120K, while on the daily, we can see it's more or less in a range around 109K, still pointing down. So for now, price is hitting support levels, and we'll simply observe how it reacts from here. Let's see what else we have next. On the daily time frame, we can see that price is hitting the cycle level again. That's the one I mentioned in previous videos. And historically, when we're not in a bear market, the buy signals from this level have led to strong upward moves. As I've said before, for a buy signal to confirm, we need to wait for a daily candle to close green. That's what I'm monitoring every day, and I'll update as soon as the buy signal appears. Even during bear markets, this signal still produced decent upward moves. And if someone had simply bought every signal all the way down, they would have ended up with solid profits in the end. Anyway, for now, no bear market is confirmed. Now, looking at the weekly time frame, we can see the Bollinger Bands on both the weekly and 2-week charts. On the 2-week time frame, price is hitting the midpoint, which acted as an area of support during this bull run. It wasn't always a perfect touch, but it was close enough that the area around the midpoint often led to strong upward reactions. For now, that level hasn't been lost. Price is still hovering around it, and it remains support until proven otherwise. On the weekly time frame, price is touching the lower Bollinger Band, which has historically acted as strong support. Yes, price can grind slightly below it, But as long as we're still in a bull market, this area has repeatedly served as a bottom formation zone. Even in past bear markets, we've seen temporary bounces from this area, so it adds another layer of confluence to the current support zone. I also want to point out that the bands are getting very tight right now. Yes, in bear markets, they tend to tighten before a move down, but usually before that happens, we've seen impulsive moves up first. So either this time is truly different, meaning we're in a new kind of cycle, which isn't confirmed yet, or everything will play out as it has before, with this being just a tightening range before another move up. That's exactly what we saw in previous bull runs. The bands got tight, and then we saw a strong extension to the upside. Yes, we could still have a target down to around 99K, which isn't even that far away. But unless this turns out to be some completely new type of cycle, I'll continue to treat this area as support and a consolidation range before another leg up. And honestly, if I'm wrong, that's fine. I've already had a nice rise. But simply put, my statistics don't show a top right now, so I'll continue to follow that until proven otherwise. We'll see whether the market behaves as it always has, or whether we get something new and I'll have to adjust my stats. But for now, this is still a support area for me. If we look now at the yearly fib time chart, we can see that price is currently trading below the previous support area and is now coming down toward the next level. Locally, we have the time trend line, which is basically where Bitcoin is sitting right now. And below that, we have the 100K area, a key confluence with other levels, such as the 7-day and weekly EMA targets. But as always, we go step by step. We can see that these lines have been well respected, so if price doesn't fully break down and instead spends some time here, it could grind along this line before deciding on direction. This area also aligns with our yearly fib time, which is interesting because historically that timing often marked the highs of the market cycles. Let me show you the examples. In each of the previous bull runs, Bitcoin formed its cycle high around this exact time. During the first bull run, we had a parabolic move that topped within this time window. The second bull run did the same. In the third one, it was basically the exact top. But now, instead of moving up into the fib time, price is moving down into it, which flips the logic. When price meets time, we look for a reversal. So if price moves down into the fib time, the expected reversal would be to the upside. The key question now is simply where price will be by the time we hit that window. So keep an eye on the end of the week because this is something new, and I'm genuinely excited to see how it plays out. But the simple logic stays the same. If price is at support and hits the time, we look for a reversal. Now, let's have a look at the local levels. My limit order for the manual trade got filled here, so my average entry is now around the weekly order block. As for the averages today, the average loss has already been hit, so for now, this is a support area until it's lost, of course. We're still within a bigger support zone, so even if price wicks a few more times lower, that's completely fine. I don't really expect that, as I always say once we hit the average, but yes, it happens. The next statistical level would be the high to low average, which sits at 102,677, and the maximum average range is below 100K. As mentioned, I don't expect these to be hit, but they exist, so I keep them on the chart just in case we get more volatility. Anyway, for now, price hit the monthly stats wick level, and I've added to my position for this trade. Now it's simply a matter of waiting. Locally, we also have the Monday range formed, meaning we now have a high and low to work with. For signs of local strength, I'd like to see price closing back inside the Monday range. If that happens, we can aim for the Monday high and the weekly open, assuming the reclaimed low holds as support. I'm clearly not shorting here, so if the Monday low doesn't get reclaimed, I'll simply wait. Either for lower levels, like a sweep of the big wick low, or possibly for a sideways move here that could last until the yearly fib time and the monthly average window. As long as price remains inside the time window for forming the low, the formation is still in progress. Simple as that. And before I wrap it up, just to repeat once again, this is not financial advice. I do get trades wrong sometimes, and that's completely normal. I have losing trades too. But for this one, My invalidation is wide enough, and I'm perfectly fine with taking a loss if it happens, even though I don't expect this one to be a loser, as it aligns with one of my other strategy trades where I also expect higher prices. Anyway, better be safe. Lower your size, lower your leverage, and trade calmly. By the way, if you want more daily updates, you can join Patreon, where I post my daily routine videos. The first educational video will be released soon. You'll also get access to the journal and the rabbit box strategy, which so far has a 100% hit rate on spot. By the way, it's currently in a trade as well, with 3 compounds, and the last one would trigger around 97K. Of course, it's a spot trade, so all I have to do is wait for the target to be hit at 125K. Whenever that happens. Sooner, if we're still in a bull market, later if we need to wait for the next cycle. But for now, no bear market is confirmed. Until then, I wish you a nice day and see you in the next one.